Hi, thanks for joining me on the Listen Up Girl podcast. I'm your host, Zach Brandos-Friedman. Today is the news from Sunday, May 17th, 2026. And I had to pause before we get into anything because today is the International Day Against Homophobia, Biphobia, and Transphobia. May 17th was chosen to mark the anniversary of the day the World Health Organization removed homosexuality from its list of diseases. That was 1990. And the fact that we are still fighting in 2026 is exactly why this day matters. Today, we are going to talk about culture, entertainment, and representation. And we have so much to get into, so let's get started with Niecy Nash on queer representation and parenting roles. We are opening up with Niecy Nash because she gave an interview to Marie Claire that I could not stop thinking about. She reflected on some of her most iconic roles, All's Fair, When They See Us, and Dahmer. And when asked what kinds of stories about Black motherhood and queer love she hopes to see more on screen, her answer was so specific and so right that I had to read it twice. She said the most missing and untapped category is masculine identified queer woman in a parenting space. Their love stories, their origin stories. She said you don't see enough of that on screen. And she's absolutely correct. The representation is nearly invisible, and hearing Niecy Nash name it clearly means something. It puts it on the table in a way that Hollywood cannot ignore. She also talked about what coming out to her children has meant for those relationships and her marriage to Jessica Betts. She said it made them closer. She doesn't live in the shadows. Her kids knew before the world did. And she said when she stood in front of her truth, people respect it. And then she described one of her greatest times right now, listening to Jessica and her youngest making music together upstairs. As a blended family, she said, they are locked in. I love this woman. I love this interview, and I hope Hollywood is taking notes. Next story is Charles Barkley calls out homophobia in sports. Charles Barkley said what a lot of people are too afraid to say, and he said it live on national television without hesitation. At an NBA tip-off on May 12th, the panel gathered to pay tribute to Jason Collins, who recently passed away. Collins, of course, made history as the first openly gay NBA player. Kenny Smith called him a trailblazer and said the reason it doesn't feel as a momentum right now is because people like him who have opened the door. Barkley jumped in and said it would still be a big deal because we live in a homophobic society. He said anyone who thinks there aren't gay players across all sports is just stupid. And that there is a real active animosity towards gay community that keeps players from coming out. Ernie Johnson honored Collins by reminding viewers of his own words, you don't have to live in the shadows. And for those who don't know, this is not new territory for Barkley. Back in 2023, when Bud Light was being boycotted over their partnership with trans creator Dylan Mulvaney, Barkley said on air, and I'm paraphrasing only slightly, if you're gay, God bless you. If you're trans, God bless you. And if you have a problem with all of them, you know what he said. We love a man who consistently uses the platform correctly. And rest in peace, Jason Collins. You have changed things. Next, FKA Twigs to play Josephine Baker in new biopic. This casting news genuinely made me stop what I was doing. FKA Twigs is set to star as Josephine Baker in an upcoming biopic, and I cannot think of a more perfect pairing. According to Variety, filming begins this autumn. The film will explore Baker's extraordinary life, her music, her artistry, her pivotal role in the American Civil Rights Movement. And yes, Josephine Baker was bisexual, and that is the central part of who she was and deserves to be honored fully in the telling of her story. Twigs released a statement saying she is honored to collaborate on a project and called Baker a visionary, groundbreaking woman whose story is as powerful and relevant today as it ever was. She said she cannot wait to bring Baker's fight, her love, her loss, her talent, and her heroism to the big screen. The director who wrote and directed the film said Josephine Baker lived with her for many years. She wants to explore Baker's contradictions, her wounds, her immense courage, and her relentless fight for dignity. The project has the blessing of Baker's estate and the 2 of her 12 adopted children. This has the potential to be extraordinary. Autumn cannot come fast enough so we can see this. Next, Big Mistakes renewed for season 2. So let's celebrate because Big Mistakes is coming back to Netflix. and Dan Levy is officially locked in with the streamer. On May 13th, Netflix confirmed the season 2 renewal and announced that Levy, who stars and co-created the show with Rachel Sennott, was signed a first-look TV deal. The show follows deeply and capable siblings Nikki and Morgan, who accidentally stumble into organized crime while trying to steal something from their dying grandmother. It's chaotic and funny, and it spent 2 weeks in Netflix's global top 10 English language chart. Livy said season 2 is already in the works and is going to be, his word, wild. Netflix VP of comedy called Levy's voice singular, and they can't wait to see what he has in store. And honestly, neither can I. Season 1 is streaming now, and if you need something to watch this weekend, that is definitely a great show to stream. Our next story is Russell Tovey and Olivia Colman and Alexander McQueen short film. This might be the most exciting casting news I've heard in months. Russell Tovey and Olivia Colman are set to star in a new short film called Wild Bird, with Russell Tovey playing Alexander McQueen and Colman playing Isabella Blow, the iconic fashion editor who discovered him. The film is written by Tovey himself and directed by Andrew Haigh, the filmmaker behind Weekend, Looking, and All of Us Strangers, a queer creative team bringing one of the fashion's most legendary and heartbreaking relationships to the screen. The story follows Blow taking McQueen on an imagined road trip seeking emotional redemption. Tovey described their friendship as beautifully tragic and endlessly compelling. He called McQueen one of his heroes and said it's an honor to write about him. Principal photography begins this June in the UK, and I'll be watching every piece of press that comes out of this production because this is a big deal. Next, Spain tops Europe's LGBTQ plus rainbow map. Some genuinely great news. Spain has topped ILGA Europe's annual rainbow map for the first time ever, ending Malta's decade-long number 1. The rainbow map ranks 49 European countries on their laws and politics affecting LGBTQ plus people, scored from 0 to 100%, and verified more than 250 experts across the region. Spain scored 88.7% after the government adopted equality plan for LGBTQ plus rights and trans rights, established as independent authority for equal treatment, and fully implemented the depathologization of trans people in the healthcare system. The last one is significant. Malta dropped with a second with a score of 87.73. Iceland held third, and the other end of the spectrum was Russia, with the worst country in Europe and to be LGBTQ+, with just 2%, and Azerbaijan scored 2.25%, and Turkey 4.75%. The UK ranked 16th with 51.88%, below Ireland and above Switzerland. Spain, that is what leadership looked like. Next, Queen Latifah joins The Voice as coach. Queen Latifah is joining The Voice as a coach for season 30. That is the whole story. Icon, legend, coach. I don't have anything else to say and add except congratulations to everyone who will get to be coached by her. She is a true icon. And we are closing with Bulgaria winning Eurovision 2026 because this is a big moment. Bulgaria took home the 2026 Eurovision Song Contest trophy with a massive 516 points, their first ever victory. Dara performed Bangaranga and led the jury vote all the way through the finale. Going into the fight, Finland were the favorites, ultimately finishing with 279 points. Israel was Bulgaria's closest competition during the jury reveal. Bulgaria had been absent from the competition for 3 years and came back with an absolute win. Now, this year's contest came with significant controversy. 5 countries pulled out in what became the largest Eurovision boycott since 1970. Spain, Slovenia, Ireland, Iceland, and Netherlands all confirmed they would not participate after Israel was confirmed as a competing nation. Congratulations to Bulgaria, and we take note of the 5 countries who made a stand. And thanks for listening to Listen Up, Girl, your culture entertainment edition for the International Day Against Homophobia, Biphobia, and Transphobia. From Niecy Nash naming what's missing on screen, to Charles Barkley calling out homophobia in sports, to FKA Twigs becoming Josephine Baker, Bulgaria making Eurovision history, and today's story remind us that visibility, representation, and joy are not small things. They are the whole point. I'll be back tomorrow with more LGBTQ plus news, so don't skip it. Thanks for listening, and I'll be back tomorrow with a whole new set of stories. Thanks for listening.